Catch me in the Muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy, we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps, paying for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Let's go,
Cleveland! This is for you!
Mr. Hero's turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Join with me, as always, we've got Dustin in Cleveland. Guys, you just heard from our friends over at Mr. Hero. If you haven't already, please be sure to download the app. You get buy one, get one offers just for signing up. They've got a great rewards system. You can build points, order within the app, really quick and easy. So please be sure to check out our friends over at Mr. Hero. Dustin, how are you?
Well, it got over 40 degrees, and I feel like everybody came out and said, oh my gosh, the weather finally is changing. I'm excited for the weather to change here. It's been great. It's been awesome, but it's still wintertime. It's February. Now we're back in the 30s. But Fear the Beard, James Harden is making his debut in Cleveland tonight, right across the street at Rocket Arena. So that's exciting. We've seen his play has been so far so good with the transaction over to the new look Cavs front five. But other than that, we got a lot to talk about to go into the coaching hires that have been happening on the offensive side of the ball with Coach Todd Monken and the, of course, defensive coordinators and folks that are being interviewed for the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just kind of get into it. First, let's actually start before we get into coaching, just because it's going to be relatively coach heavy. Let's start with what transpired with David Njoku. Looks like he is set to hit free agency. Obviously, a fan favorite, right? Friend of the program. Everybody loves David Njoku. So that's a huge bummer to see him looking for a new home. I don't think this comes as a total surprise, right? With the drafting and development of Harold Fannin Jr. You have to think that David's agent was probably pushing him to leave Cleveland, maybe find another opportunity. But he will certainly be missed. Like we said, fan favorite, just a really fun guy. Loved watching him in Cleveland. So just wishing him the best, but a bummer nonetheless, Dustin.
Yeah, I've gotten to know him personally here in Cleveland. 9 years is a long time for any player to be with an organization. Obviously, we drafted him. Great guy, fan favorite. Like I said, like he's one of those, like when Nick Chubb walks out the door, you're like, man, that was one of my favorites. I mean, we can think of all the moments. I mean, remember, Allie, you know it vividly well. We were at that game that he made that crazy catch, as you remember, at the end of the game to go into overtime against the Buccaneers. So he created a lot of fan favorite moments, including our friend Brian Hannum, where he threw the ball to him after throwing the touchdown in the end zone. Very close to a lot of fans. But here's the truth. He's always a Brown. He'll be forever a Brown, just like our alumni friends. He'll come back here. He'll be adored and loved, and good luck to wherever he goes. Probably get a 2 to 4 year deal, maybe. But I think he's got some football left in him. And whatever fan base gets him, they're going to get that Njoku off the cuff. You don't know what he's going to say. Fun, energetic guy that he really is. Yeah,
definitely. Wishing him the best. Obviously sad to see him go. But wishing him nothing but the best. So let's transition here. Let's talk about coaches. That's kind of the big thing. Let's start with kind of the easier stuff to talk about right now, just kind of the quick hitters, if you will. Really starting to fill out the the offensive staff. Obviously, there's still questions on the defensive side of the ball. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But the offensive side of the ball is really coming together. Todd Monken did say in I forget where, but he did mention that he'd like to have that filled out this week. So that's good, so you feel decent about that. But the biggest thing that has happened is over the past week really is the announcement that Deuce Staley will be staying put. He will be the running backs coach for the Browns. So that's really the biggest thing on the offensive side of the ball that's changed since we last spoke.
Yeah, and I think that was a good retention hire for the Cleveland Browns and Todd Monken because of his great development with the young rookies and how far they came along. And, of course, this is going to be a very young football team on the offensive side of the ball going forward. So I think that was good to keep that continuity. And as Ali likes to say, the alignment with the running back room and keeping Deuce Staley on staff. I think that was a good keep for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. So just to go through what the offensive staff currently looks like, you've got your head coach, Todd Monken, your offensive coordinators, Travis Switzer, pass game coordinator, Danny Breyer, quarterbacks, Mike Bajakian, all of which we talked about last week. Now, also brought on assistant quarterbacks coach, Matt Baker, running backs coach, Deuce Staley, as we just mentioned, wide receivers, Christian Jones, tight ends, Jeff Blasco, offensive line forward or assistant offensive line, Sanders Davis, and another assistant offensive line is Bobby Johnson. So really coming together on the offensive side of the ball. Like to see that, right? That is good as we, are now at the end of the season and going into free agency period and looking ahead to the draft. You feel good about having that set in stone. So let's turn it over to the defensive side of the ball where there's some questions on what they're going to do. So first we'll run through some names and then we'll talk about it. So quickly, just right off the rip, the two internal, Ephraim Banda, the safeties coach, and of course, Jason Tarver, the linebackers coach. Some other names of interest and some that have already been interviewed: Mike Ruttenberg, Falcons defensive pass game coordinator, Aubrey Pleasant, the Rams assistant head coach / defensive pass game coordinator, Jonathan Cooley, Panthers defensive pass game coordinator, Charlie Bolin, outside linebackers coach for the Giants. And I am missing one. It is, who is it? Corey Undlin down in Houston. So,
right. Which, by the way, I believe he's got some experience as being a former defensive coordinator. So he's probably the one that's got a lot of experience at, retaining that type of position again.
So let's talk about that, right? Do you have, do you kind of swing one way or another in terms of feeling pretty strongly about an internal hire versus bringing somebody in from the outside?
Me, internally, based on Schwartz's departure, I think for me, I'd hire an internal guy, and I'll tell you why. And one that sticks out to me is obviously Jason Tarver. He's been there, I believe, since 2020. What he's done with JOK and obviously Schlesinger, and he's well respected. That's a very important side of the ball. The green dot guy on defense. Maybe it's his time, because I think here's the thing. I'd hate to lose a guy like that because my feeling is another team may come after him, right? And maybe covet him and then we lose him. So I personally –
Or have kind of a smaller version of Jim Schwartz, him thinking that he's qualified for the job, not getting it, and then deciding to leave on his own. We could also – where that happens, right?
Right. So, for me, I'm great with it. A Jason Tarver that's proven himself and been on the staff for 5 years, right? It's not like he's been there through all the good years of the defense and proven himself. So I'm an internal. Where are you at on this, Allie?
I could kind of go either way. I don't want to say I'm indifferent, but I kind of am. I think that the talent on the defensive side of the ball is the recipe here for a decent defense, right? It's not bringing in the next Jim Schwartz or the next up and coming defensive coordinator. I think anybody can step in and do a serviceable job. Now, again, we want above average, we want above serviceable, but when we're looking at the names here, obviously this was very clunky with the departure of Jim Schwartz. So you kind of missed out on some of those other guys that went very early in cycles. At this point, I'm kind of leaning maybe internal just to keep continuity purposes, keep everything kind of already the way that they're operating. However, there is a conversation to be had about an external candidate coming in, right? And just the creativity, the new ideas, doing something different that David just added himself to the show. David, that's crazy. I saw you there, big dog. Not yet. Hang on.
David wanted a piece of this action, what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Unless you have something to say, David, if you'd like to be part of this conversation, we'll bring you right on in here. But the idea of another coordinator coming in with fresh ideas, fresh philosophy, sure, of course, that obviously excites me. And that's one of the things, right? When you looked at this team before Todd Monken hiring, saying, well, if we're just going to promote Tommy Rees and Jim Schwartz as the head coach, what really changes? And I guess you can kind of make the same argument here. Like, do we really need something to change? What does that look like? So in the event that they are going to, let's just say they bring in somebody from the outside. I mean, what do you think that does, Dustin? Like, does that really change what we're going to do, like wide nine?
That's a big question mark. I don't know, right? I don't know if I know that. I mean, like, according to Monken, he doesn't want to change, right, the scheme, and he wants to keep things the same. But you're right, when you bring a new defensive guy in, he's going to have his tweaks to what he wants to do on the defensive side of the ball. So you would think he would, right? You think he would change it a little, an outside guy versus an inside guy, right? Like, because an internal guy is going to be like, no, man, Schwartz had this baby running like a fine-tuned oiled machine, and then I just think the internal guy
I would, but we don't know that to be for sure, right? If Tarver comes in, I mean, he could potentially have his own philosophy. He's been with the team since 2020, longer than obviously what Jim Schwartz tenure in Cleveland. So maybe it's possible he wants to come in and do what he did previously, and in college. So I don't know. I kind of lean internal. Ephraim Banda, I think I've got a lot of interest there. He's kind of that next up and coming kind of guy. I love Jason Tarver. I'd be happy with that. Frankly, out of all of the names listed, Dustin, there's not a red flag to me. I think I would be pretty happy with some of these guys. So let's just kind of run through some quick resumes. Ephraim Banda, obviously, guys, you were familiar with him. He's a safeties coach. He's 44 years old, has not played in the National Football League, but he served as the Browns safeties coach since 2023. Does not have any current connections with Todd Monken. So previously in the coaching world, no connections there, but spent time, obviously, with Jim Schwartz. His coaching experience started at Incarnate Ward. He was a student assistant there, then moved up through the college rankings, Mississippi State, Texas, Miami, Utah State defensive coordinator, and then came into the National Football League as the Browns safeties coach. So, you know what I like? Just real quick to preface with a lot of these guys, just going through their resume here, a lot of these guys are going to be secondary guys. Right? They are going to be safeties coaches, the defensive pass game coordinators. Oh, yeah, good point. That really, really intrigues me to kind of implement what we already know with the wide nine defense, what they want to do with the front seven, or really even the front four, and allowing somebody like an Ephraim Banda to come in, or whoever they decide, with maybe some secondary tweaks or some secondary new philosophy. That's really interesting to me, to kind of have a blend of what Jim Schwartz was doing plus some hybrid action in the secondary. Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting thought. Next up, Jonathan Cooley, the Carolina Panthers defensive pass game coordinator. He's an Ohio guy from Gahanna, played at John Carroll. Does not have any Browns connections or Todd Monken connections, but he's been around the league. The Rams with in 2020, Raheem Morris with the Falcons. Geez. And of course now the Panthers. So he's been around. Aubrey Pleasant, the Rams defensive pass game coordinator and assistant head coach. That's kind of interesting, right? Somebody that comes with that leadership experience. Also a young guy. He's 38. He's been around, had some, spent time with obviously the Rams, with the Lions, Rams previously with Wade Phillips and Brandon Staley, Washington, Browns back in 2013. So that's kind of interesting. In 2013, he served as a coaching intern for the Browns under Chud during the 2013 training camp. So no extensive Browns history, but of course, he was there. And then who am I missing? Jason Tarver, obviously a familiar name there. He's 51, spent the last 6 years with the Browns. So, when you look at this, you look at a guy in Jason Tarver who has consistently elevated his position group. We go back to 2020. I mean, man, there's just been some dudes. I have always been critical of the linebackers, right? Just because there were never enough. It wasn't the talent,
That's
Dustin.
true. You were like, we didn't have enough, right? It was always a depth issue.
Somebody would get injured, and then it was just like, oh, we're having, David come in and play linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. It was stuff like that all the time, and it would just drive me absolutely insane. So I think when you run through these, I also want to just kind of quickly go through Corey Unlin. It's interesting to think that what they're trying to do is bring in a guy that has experience, but is also maybe willing to try some new things, given the talent that they already have and the structure that's already in place. So Corey Unlin, he's coached some guys. I mean, let's just take a look back here recently. 8 Pro Bowlers this past year not this past year, but Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, Derek Stingley Jr., Hufanga, Malcolm Jenkins, Aqib Talib, TJ Ward, Chris Harris Jr. So he's coached some dudes, has been around the game. So I like the idea of a potential hybrid solution, right? Mm-hmm. Already having what you have in place, paired with a guy that can come in and do some unique things that Jim Schwartz wasn't necessarily doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if it's not somebody internally, I want somebody that's got a little bit of pedigree, or at least has been a DC in the National Football League. I would feel more comfortable with that, but I don't want to just change, to your point, somebody that's a position coach and has not done it before in the NFL, because then you could have more people walk out and not have that continuity on the staff. Keep those guys around.
Because of what happened with Jim Schwartz, you kind of miss out on some of the other defensive candidates, right? Some other guys already committed to teams or to positions and or position coaches, and we're just out on that just because of the clunky nature of what happened with Jim Schwartz and this hiring process.
Yeah, let me ask you this, because this is interesting, because we all know it was very early in the process. And I know because of Jim Schwartz under contract, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit tonight and what that could mean for him moving forward with the Raiders and some other jobs. I thought it was interesting that Kevin Stefanski very quickly retained the DC, I believe, in Atlanta, and didn't really go looking around or, asking for any other things. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know why, but I just thought, well, that's obviously if he wanted out of his contract, the Browns could have figured out something with the Falcons, right? So I just thought that was interesting, how they were going through this coaching process, and just that was really quickly one of the first things he basically put under his hat once he took the job. So I don't know, it was just odd, the whole. And I think we've talked about this. I feel kind of like Schwartz was kind of an Andrew Berry guy. He was kind of mirrored up with Kevin Stefanski later on, after the firing of Woods, right? Yeah. And brought in. I just think it was, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like an interesting marriage. And, the one person that was always looking better in the marriage was Schwartz. And so it was like, so glad you look great, because I look like, what over here, right? So I don't know. It was interesting in itself that it was kind of like the guy that was from Philadelphia, Andrew, knew him really well. I don't know. It's very odd, the whole thing.
The whole process was clunky. And I think that the Browns ended up quite lucky, actually, in the situation that they landed in hiring Todd Monken. I think it could have been a lot worse. Obviously, it remains to be seen. We'll see how all of this shakes out. But just the process in which they didn't comply with the Rooney Rule until very late in the process, and they weren't able to make a hire, as well as just the back and forth between Los Angeles and we weren't part of the process, so it's hard to say, but the nature of looking like they're stringing guys along. So you have to wonder, did Jim Schwartz genuinely believe, or was he convinced that he was getting this job? It was his to lose. They just had to essentially comply with the Rooney Rule, and then the job was going to be his, and then it wasn't. And similarly with Kevin retaining, what's his name? Ulrich, whatever, yeah, down in Atlanta. It was almost immediately that Kevin was announced as the head coach, that it was put out that they're retaining the defensive coordinator. And I agree with you. That was odd. You have to wonder, okay, does Kevin just not have the guts to say, hey, no, I'm bringing in my guy? because we know that Kevin.
Or was it an awkward marriage like it was in Cleveland in some ways? By the way, if you become our new head coach, we want to retain the defensive coordinator. It could have been.
I think it's possible because Kevin has always been kind of a yes man. He's very agreeable and pushed around a little. So maybe if he would be more willing to do that than other coaches. And I also think that it was interesting because if you remember on draft night, Shedeur Sanders got a prank call. And who was it? None other than that defensive coordinator's son. So kind of interesting.
Good little tea there. Look at that, Allie. Good tea.
Kind of interesting that's the route that he took. It doesn't matter. They're not Cleveland Browns. It doesn't matter. But interesting nonetheless. I agree with you. The process has just been weird, clunky, and just weird. Moving on, the Browns, obviously, since we last spoke, they made a special teams coordinator hire. So that's really exciting. Let's get into that. They bring in Byron Storer as the special teams coordinator. Prior to being in Cleveland, he was the assistant special teams coach with the Green Bay Packers from 22 to 25. Before that, he was in with the Raiders, Oakland, and Las Vegas as a special teams assistant from 2018 to 2021. And then going back to San Diego as an assistant linebackers coach, special teams assistant, and assistant special teams coach for the Bucs in 2010 and 2011. So, something to note here, he's a fullback. That was his position. He went undrafted in 2007, got picked up by the Bucs, and that was about it. He had a pretty short NFL career, just a couple of years in the league, and then got into coaching. And he's been a special teams guy ever since. So kind of a special teams lifer, if you will. I think you feel good about it, right? He wasn't the special teams coordinator for the Packers. He was the assistant. So when you look at what he's done, you look at, okay, he was with the Raiders from 2018 to 21, and then the Packers 22 to 25. Not just one and done years. He spent a couple of years with each program. He's 41 years old, so fairly young. And look, I think that this is a hire that has potential to be potentially a home run.
Yeah, and like I said, he's come from some really good organizations. He's Packers, I believe, right, is where he was previous. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so obviously a well-run organization. So he comes from a disciplined coaching staff. So I'm excited for that hire, right? I think, again, probably his time to also get promoted, right? Like you said, he hadn't called the special teams before, and now this is a guy that's looking for get his flowers a little bit and prove his worth here in Cleveland. And after what I watched last season, I don't think he could do
worse.
Yeah, couldn't do worse.
Any surprise on that? Bubba Ventrone quickly gets picked up, and he's a special teams coordinator in Los Angeles. I was surprised to see how quickly he was picked up. I thought he was pretty bad. Now, I understand too, during his time in Cleveland, there's been some maybe a little bit less talent than you'd like to have for special teams, but I wouldn't say it was abysmal. I think it was just they were poorly coached. Your thoughts on him getting picked up fairly quickly?
I was rather shocked, to be quite honest with you. And I was under the impression that Kevin Stefanski wanted to keep him and retain him as well, wherever he was going. So that was also very shocking to me. Shocking,
but also kind of telling, that Kevin's maybe a little too loyal, right? And maybe that's part of the reason that he didn't get another shot here in Cleveland is he wasn't able to move off guys in the time that he should have. Like Joe Woods, go back to that. That was just egregious. Or, well,
egregious with the type of talent you had, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. More to come on that. We'll talk to David about that here in just a moment. But real quick, want to tell you about our good friends over at Stadium Mustard. Guys, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you are doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it's loved by millions. Be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about Primetime?
Yeah, guys, Primetime. If you love basketball, like you love your Cleveland Cavaliers, that's right. February 21st, mark your calendars. Ron Harper is coming back to Cleveland, and Mark Price. That's right. Two legendary players that played for the Cleveland Cavaliers are coming back. Ron Harper, Mark Price. And then, of course, March 1st, you got Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo, who played his wife on the show, will be there March 1st. And I hear there's some other things being mentioned as well. Also, get ready. There will be a discount code into perpetuity from our friends at Stadium Mustard that will be releasing here soon, so you can get some extra discounts on your favorite mustard.
There you go. There you have it. Also, just real quick, we want to tell you about our friend Crystal John Tony, guys. If you are looking to buy or sell a home, or maybe you just have some questions in investing or renting, give our girl Crystal John Tony a call over at eXp Realty at 216-215-6663. JohnTonySells@gmail.com. She's best in the business. She will point you in the right direction, put you down the right path, and get your home sold, or maybe put you in a new one. So give her a call if you've got any real estate questions. All right, let's bring David on. This is brought to you by our good friends over at Lorella Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies Nations. We are here with Larry Lorello at Huntington Field to talk about Here We Go Brownies wine and all the other amazing wines at Lorella Vineyards.
Yeah, I just want to tell all of you guys, it's harvest season right now. We just started with some of the whites, and reds will be coming in next. Stop out at the winery, all the wineries out in Northeast Ohio, for to check out all the harvest and what we're doing out there. It's a really good time right now.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Here we go.
Woof, woof.
Woof, woof.
All right, let's bring him on, the husband of the program, Dr. David Ellery. Hi, David.
Hey, hi, Allie. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
David, I haven't even told this Allie, but Allie knows I got bit accidentally by my dog because of a Zowie. And wouldn't you know it, Sunday night, I'm left-handed, same thing, smashed my thumb in the SUV thing as I shut the door, and I got a hematoma on my left hand. So it is the week to like stay away from, I don't know what, but
That's a bummer. Sorry, I tried jumping on earlier. That was an accident. I'm not very good at StreamYard.
That's pretty funny. I'm like, oh, what is he doing here?
he's got breaking news.
Showing up, and no, that was.
I thought he was coming in with some breaking news. I thought he was going to come in and be like, "Hey,
I thought maybe like the Browns made a defensive coordinator hire, and he's like, "Nope, I'm going to come on and break it myself," which that would have been brilliant. That's what we do here. All right, David. First off, I don't think that there's anything medical related that's happened, any surgeries or anything like that, but just want to run it by you, see if I'm missing anything.
No, you are correct. I have nothing to report, nothing to update. We spoke about it last week, just kind of touching base on all the big ones. And as far as I know, I have not heard anything to change any of that news from last week.
All right. Well, that was the medical moment.
Well, I was going to say you probably have seen Deshaun Watson working out. Multiple videos he's posted of his workouts. I don't know if you've seen any of those. So he's been doing that.
I did not, but I mean, we know he's doing it. He was practicing at the end of the season.
No surprise there. I want to get your, temperature check on, the defensive coordinator hire. Do you kind of swing in one direction or another versus an internal versus external hire, David?
I kind of like you and what you guys were talking about in your approach to this, or their approach to it. I can go either way. I think I'm not certainly like tied to any of the candidates super like strongly. I think kind of like you alluded to, Allie, with the roster in place, it's while you don't necessarily want it to be just plug and coach sort of situation, it's kind of like that in the sense that this defense is established and there's leaders all around it and they know what needs to be done to continue having the success that they've been having. So bringing in a defensive coordinator, I mean, it's obviously you want someone who can push them up and help with scheme and definitely get them lined up, just because from year to year you like to make little adjustments or kind of make sure guys are progressing and improving. I mean, overall, I think it's a good opportunity for any of these younger guys, inexperienced guys, to kind of get their feet wet with a really good defense and a supporting cast around them. So, if it's Jason Tarver getting bumped up, I think that's awesome. He's a fantastic coach and he's got a lot of great experience. And I think given what the linebacker room was this year, he can probably continue that as well as expanding his, grasp on the entire defense as a whole. But, if he ends up sticking on at linebackers coach and they bring in someone else from the outside, he can be a great resource for them, even as a position coach, to help them be like, hey, this is our defense. These are our guys. And like, As long as I guess he gets retained would be the thing, which I think he would at this point, just because it's so late in the process. But no, I don't have a huge pull towards any of them, but I'm just excited to see kind of where Todd Monken ends up going with it ultimately, just because it's been an enjoyable kind of couple of weeks since he's been hired, seeing the route he's taking and the path and how he's choosing these guys. And I think he's put together a really good staff and close to rounding it up and completing it.
Yeah. I think this is a great opportunity for a lot of the guys that I mentioned. Most of them are younger guys, up and coming future defensive coordinators. You have to look at this as an opportunity that you're going to come in and coach one of the best defenses in the National Football League with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Carson Swessinger, and then, maybe as a stepping stone job. You come in as the defensive coordinator, you do a great job. The Browns make the playoffs. They're looking great. You're going to get head coaching interviews, right? You are going to be this is a great stepping stone. So if you're any of these guys, you look at this as a pretty desirable job. Now,
Yep, totally.
That was kind of a totally different question. The Browns as a whole, totally different question. But just to call this defense, it's a pretty great opportunity in my opinion.
Yep, I mean, I completely agree, and I think that makes it. That's fun for both sides. Fun for the Browns and for the team and the players to see someone come in and maybe take that next step. But fun for that guy too, because he can coach an established defense and still have success, and then springboard his career. So,
moving on. How boring was that Super Bowl until the very end?
Well, I will tell you, if you all remember the San Francisco New England Patriots Super Bowl, it very much mirrored that, where it was field goals. Now, my friend is a huge Seahawks fan, has been his entire life, so he was elated. It was a defensive. I mean, Drake made.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his struggles in the playoffs, and those kind of just magnified in the Super Bowl. But man, what, 7 sacks did he end up with? Something like that. I mean, it was insane. Like the fact that they just looked like they were just discombobulated the entire game on defense or on offense.
I really thought that up until the fourth quarter, Super Bowl MVP was going to the kicker, and it was like, wow, like, could this actually happen? We've never seen anything like that. There has never been a kicker Super Bowl MVP ever. But the way this game was going, it looked like that was going to be it, because at the time you had JSN that went out for concussion. He ended up coming back, but Kenneth Walker, while he was producing, he hadn't scored up until that point. So it's like, well, what are we going to do? But
and I was excited because you had 2 former Boise State players playing in the Super Bowl. So with DeMarcus Lawrence, with that free agency hiring, and Halani, the backup running back, it was cool to see 2 Boise State guys get their Super Bowl rings too. And those guys, that was pretty cool to see that as well.
Yeah,
I think it was one of those games where when you are not a fan of the Seahawks, it's kind of boring. You're kind of like, oh man, this is rough. Like, I want to see some fireworks, I want to see points. But I bet you what, I tell you what, I bet the Seahawks fans were loving it, kind of just like really enjoying seeing such a great defensive performance. And I mean, I think we'd be in the same position, whenever the Browns are in kind of a slugfest, but it's like shutting down, getting, close to double-digit sacks. It's an amazing feeling. And you're like, this is the best defense. This is incredible. And you're all into it. But for, fans of any other team, that's just not as exciting, which is, you can respect it. You can respect it being good defensive football. Like you said, 6 or 7 sacks. But it was really cool to see, I guess, just how clinical McDonald was in coaching that and calling those plays. I mean, they were doing, it wasn't even, they weren't blitzing. And most of those sacks came on 4-man pressures, just base defense. And so to be able to accomplish that and just have that offensive line, running around in circles was really impressive, and just really amazing to see kind of the trajectory his career has had so quickly too. Really a bright defensive young mind. And he's going to have that defense like that, playing like that every season, year in and year out, while he's their head coach.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and I think the bigger story in all this is what the Seattle Seahawks have done in 2 years, getting rid of Geno Smith, bringing in DeMarcus Lawrence, hitting on some of their draft picks, getting rid of Russell Wilson, and seeing their ways and turning it around in 2 or 3 years. Like, that's phenomenal in a lot of ways, what they did as an organization, just from a standpoint of getting it right. And by the way, getting rid of a legendary coach who won you a Super Bowl. I mean, those are some big risks you take as an organization, saying he's not in anymore. We need to go younger, more inspired type of guy. Russell Wilson doesn't have it anymore. I mean, those take some big kahunas to do that. As an organization.
Gods. But just for that exactly, to paint the picture, the Seahawks, they had question mark at quarterback just a year ago. They had question marks at quarterback. They traded DK Metcalf. They had an okay offensive line, okay run game, and then just went all in on the defensive-minded head coach and the defense. And then when you look at that, you've got a great defense. And Sam Darnold, he's a good quarterback, right? I'm not going to say he's an elite quarterback because he's not, but he's a good quarterback. When you have good offensive line play, good enough offensive line play, a good running back and a good receiver, you can get shit done, essentially. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba, guys, he wasn't a top 5 pick. Yeah, he went in the first round, but he was picked 20th overall. So the ability to identify talent and being able to hit on a couple of draft picks here and there and bringing in a guy that fits the culture in Sam Darnold and that can just distribute the ball. And that's all it took. So,
Allie, we've said this. Well, we've always said this. The Browns just need a good quarterback. They don't need a great quarterback because their defense is elite, and they need to have, a middle of the pack offense, right? Like, I mean, and we didn't see it last year, but just scores points, like gets over 20, 30, points, like 24, 20.
That is exactly precisely why I have been so pissed at this team the past 2 or 3 years or even going back really under Kevin, when you have an offensive guy as your head coach and you cannot get anything done on the offensive side of the ball and you are essentially wasting generational defense, because look at what the recipe was for the Seahawks this year. It was just being good enough. It wasn't going out there and sure, they had some dominant wins, but they were just good enough. And that is what is just so frustrating, that Kevin couldn't get this team to, one, be disciplined enough to ever even sniff any type of success like this, but also scoring points. If they could have just scored a little bit more, they probably would have been maybe in the playoffs 2 or 3 more times than they were. Well,
I'll give you 2 examples where I think he lost his coaching job. The Jets and the Titans. Yep. 2 teams you absolutely should have beat. I saw it in person, and I literally was in New York, and I go, I don't know how he keeps his job after this game. Like, this is crazy. Like this team, and you just gave up on special teams 14 points. Like, you're cooked. Like, this is not a team you lose to, right? And by the way, they want the first pick. They don't have a quarterback. It's not like they're going to try to be, to your point, you don't need to score a ton of points. You just need to score enough points when you have a great elite defense. That's it.
Yeah, I know. But overall, from a fan experience, I would say the Super Bowl was pretty boring, pretty forgettable. Not one that you're going to look back on and be like, man, that game was nuts. No, it kind of sucked. We ended up playing with the dogs. We went outside. We were playing the game. We really kind of had it on in the background, which is
I will say we had the Here We Go Brownie Super Bowl party, and I'm just kind of like, okay, now it's 9 or 12-0. I kind of checked out a little bit and walking around doing stuff because it was kind of like, I guess we're just going to get a bunch of kicks.
Yeah, and also a bad betting game. If you put any money on this, let's just run through the stats here. I don't think many people made a lot of money. Sam Darnold, 19 of 38 for 202, 1 touchdown. He had 202 yards. Kenneth Walker had a game, 27 for 135. Cooper Kupp, 6 for 61. AJ Barner, 4 for 54. And then turning it over to New England, poor Drake May. Statistically, though, he put up some yards, 27 of 43 for 295, two touchdowns, 2 picks. He was sacked 6 times. Drake May also led the team in rushing, so that's not ideal because he only had 37 rushing yards. So they just weren't able to do much. Matt Collins was the leading receiver, 78 yards. Demario Douglas, 45. And then Ramondre Stevenson had 40 yards. So it just sucked. Sucked.
Yeah, I saw, but I think it was Drake, in the fourth quarter, he had some sort of record-setting fourth quarter in terms of passing yards in one quarter in a Super Bowl. So again, the fourth quarter was a little exciting, but speaking about betting on the game, did you? I forgot to bring this up to you, but I mean, we like to look at quarterback rushing yardage lines, and Sam Darnold was 11.5 for 10.5, and he got to his 11 yards. Actually, I think it might have been for some people 5.5, but anyway, he got to like 11, and then at the end of the game, he had like a 6-yard kind of like fall backwards that they counted as a rush and not a sack. He lost 6 yards exactly, and it got him under his line. And so, like, you know, thousands or millions of people ended up losing on that because it was like essentially like a kneel down, but he like wasted 3 or 4 seconds with it. And it's like, why didn't you just take the knee at 1 yard instead of the 6? So that was pretty rough for a lot of people.
Well, so here's something interesting. You know, when you look at the game, the New England Patriots had 4 wins last year, I believe. 4 wins on the season. 4 wins. 1 less than the Cleveland Browns. So I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. Here's a stat that's very interesting. The New England Patriots had the easiest schedule in the National Football League last year, and so it made it very advantageous for their season. 60% of the NFL teams that have the easiest record make the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns have the easiest schedule next year.
Yeah.
So theoretically, statistically, we have a 60% chance of making the playoffs. So Todd Monken just might get lucky with this football game.
Yeah. I'm going to text David because his connection's pretty bad. David, do you want to come in here for the next segment and just like sit here? Because your connection's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's I just think it's because there's no Wi-Fi router out here.
Yeah, just come join me. Because we've got another segment to end the show. But you're right, Dustin. You're absolutely right that the path is there. And, you know, you've got a new coach. You've got a great defense. And you've got the easiest schedule in the National Football League. And you've got a guy in Shedeur Sanders that a lot of people believe can get you several wins. So if they can go out and just have slightly above what they were last year offensively and maintain that defensive standard, yeah, I would not be surprised if the Browns are able to make the playoffs. That would not surprise me.
10 wins is not crazy talk. I mean, like 10 wins.
How many games were just right there? Something happened.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
yes.
and you know, we'll get into it probably not on this show, but, you know, are the Browns going to maybe go look for a bridge quarterback out there that's available to compete with Shedeur? Because I think
yes.
I'm assuming you saw what Myles Garrett had to say about Shedeur Sanders at the Super Bowl. I mean, he did one of these in his pictures. I think there is belief and hope within the organization, defense and on offensive side of the ball, that Shedeur can be the guy, right? I think there's some there's some hope that can be the case, just because he's on because they also know you can bring in a lot more people around him on that type of contract.
Yeah,
so
definitely. All right. Real quick, Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about our good friends over at, where's it at? We Bleed Ohio.
That's right, guys. If you haven't got some We Bleed Ohio cool merch, go over there, check them out. Baseball, football, basketball, and your official Here We Go Brownies hoodies and t-shirts at webleedohio.com.
All right, there you go.
And look at that.
Right.
Even the dog pound appreciates it.
Birdie, she agrees with you. You can open the door.
Birdie's happy.
All right. And also, if you are wondering what you should do for dinner, for lunch, guys, Valentine's Day is coming up. Take your lunch to City Barbecue. There you go. They can cater your event. You can go into the store. You can eat there. They've got award-winning sauces, sides, meats. They do it right. They're very friendly. They can cater your event, as I mentioned. They're just very easy to work with. So please be sure to check out our friends over at City Barbecue. All right. So I thought maybe it'd be fun to wrap up with a segment of just some trivia, some Brown/football trivia between you and David. Now, this makes it very challenging because I don't want David to see my screen. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone, which I do have. Because
and by the way, just a little bit of an update. Not shocking because this team's terrible, but your Cavaliers are up 40-24 at the end of the first quarter.
Interesting. All right. Let me pull up my Browns trivia. So I was thinking we'll kind of go with this first one. I'll ask the question. And
is there a prize? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you just.
Oh, by the way, we didn't talk about this. Ali didn't win. 6, 7, no, 6, 8, and 3 ties because I took the New England Patriots hoping to tie. So you won the overall thing for the year.
Win. Yes, I did. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I'm thinking let's go through these, have a little bit of fun tonight. I'll keep score. So whoever gets the first one correctly, I will ask the next question to. Let me write this down here. So I will just throw it. I'll throw the first question out there. Whoever gets to it first can answer. How about that? Okay. All right. So we're going to stay on the theme of Super Bowl currently. And obviously, there's no cheating. There's no looking anything up. I've got
no AI. No AI.
No nothing. Also, don't check the comments for any answers. But the first question I have here is, who was the last non-quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP, not including Kenneth Walker, of course?
Non-Super Bowl or non-quarterback, you said?
Non-quarterback Super Bowl MVP, obviously excluding Kenneth Walker.
That's a good question.
All right. David, you got it?
Non-quarterback.
You want to know, Dustin?
Do we have a time frame? Well, I mean, obviously.
Quickly.
No, I'm just thinking we're thinking the last 5 years. I'm just trying to think when.
Whenever it happened.
Yeah, I will give you a hint, and it was in the past. I think it was in the past 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say a wide receiver, but I'll let you go first, David. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on this.
All right, David, you're up. Who was it?
It was Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, because we thought maybe he'd repeat and get a second one this year, but he didn't.
That is correct. The last non-quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. He balled out in that Super Bowl against the Bengals. Yep.
All right. So the next question here, and we'll do the same thing. Just whoever gets it can take it. Staying on Super Bowls, with the Patriots losing, who holds the most Super Bowl victories? Which team?
The Patriots.
Partially correct, yes.
And
there's actually two. There's two
that have the most victories.
They're tied with the Patriots.
Steelers.
It's the Steelers, the Patriots and the Steelers. Yes, that is correct. All right. The next question I have for you gentlemen, sticking with Super Bowls. Who was the last player associated with the Cleveland Browns in any fashion to win Super Bowl MVP? There are actually two of them in the past 10 to 15 years.
Two former Browns became MVPs in the Super Bowl?
Or associated with. So both of these players were Super Bowl MVPs prior to their time with the Browns.
Oh, okay.
Associated with the Cleveland Browns.
I think one would be Odell Beckham.
That's incorrect.
Okay.
Nope, that is incorrect. I can give you I'll gladly give you positions for these two players. Now, the question's about one of them who's the most recent, but if you can get both, that's maybe a bonus point. One's a quarterback and one is a linebacker.
Okay.
One of them actually was coached by Jason Tarver.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you said one's a quarterback, was an MVP.
Yep, Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, I know that one.
You got it?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is correct.
Oh, wow.
Flacco. But can you name the most recent? And this happened in, can't look it up in front of you. This was in, hang on.
What position was this one that you're going to?
Linebacker.
No, he didn't play for the Browns.
I will give you the year. The year is 2014.
Oh, well, maybe he did. Linebacker, 2014. I can picture the unit. Oh, man. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Hang on. I think I have it. No.
All right. Hit me with it.
No, I think I have it. He played for the Patriots? He played for the Patriots.
No, he did not.
Damn it. Willie McGinnis? No, not Willie McGinnis.
All right, David, any guesses?
I can't think of his full name. Malcolm.
Oh, Malcolm's. You don't have it.
No.
All right, it's Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm Smith was the linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks. So I'll give you like a half of a point, David, because you got Malcolm. All right.
Where am I at? I don't know how many points I have.
You have 1 point. So David's got 1.5, and you've got 1. All right, let's do Browns trivia. Who is currently the longest tenured Cleveland Brown?
Borges?
No,
Oh, that's a good guess.
that's a good guess.
You
You got it?
It's an offensive lineman. I'm gonna go with.
Oh, Joel Petonio.
Joel. It's Joel. That was close. You
Oh.
both said it kind of at the same time, so I'll give you both half of a point. So 1.5, and David, that brings you to 2 points.
Woo, up to 2.
All right, moving on. The Browns just hired Todd Monken. Now we know what he has done in the past offensively. Now he mentioned that with the Browns, he's going to just kind of do what's best for the personnel. But previously, what has Todd Monken's offensive philosophy been? What is his offensive philosophy? Gentlemen, this is a Browns podcast.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
I got Dustin.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yep.
Spread them out, man. Air raid.
Air raid is correct.
It is the air raid attack. Yep,
Yeah.
it is. It's the air raid attack. Okay.
All right.
I'm down a point now, right? I'm down a point.
Yes. All right. Next up, Browns related. How many quarterbacks have the Browns drafted in the first round since 1999?
Oh.
And I'll give you half a point if you can name them all.
Oh, nice. There's a bonus half point here.
Wait. So it's a point and a half, right?
Well,
I'm using my pen really quick. I'm not cheating. I'm just trying to. Okay.
all right, deal.
I'm gonna go 8.
You're gonna go 8. You would be incorrect. David, would you like to take a stab at it?
I can think of 2 right away.
Okay.
Couch, Baker Mayfield. I'm gonna say 5.
5. You were both incorrect. Neither get a point. The answer is 4. And those 4 quarterbacks are Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Brandon Weeden, and Baker Mayfield.
No. You're missing one.
I'm not.
Johnny Manziel.
Oh yeah, I am missing one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're right. I am.
That's right.
Sorry, I let you win, but
All right, no point given. Just that's Ellie's fault. You're right. I did miss one. I don't know how that's possible. All right. Name this player. I'm going to give you the career path. Okay. So I'm going to tell you where they've played previously, and you tell me who that player is. They started out at Michigan, then they went to Pittsburgh, Seattle, and then Cleveland. Who is this player?
say that one more time.
Started out Michigan to Pittsburgh to Seattle to Cleveland.
So Michigan as the college, or are we talking?
Yeah. Not the Michigan Lions.
Well, no, but you're saying, is this person, this is their path in college, then they went to the Browns? I'm confused.
Path. They started out at Michigan, then they went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, to the Seattle Seahawks, to the Cleveland Browns.
I got it. Oh, I almost said it.
Ooh. All right.
Okay.
You got it?
Devin Bush.
It is Devin Bush. All right. It is Devin Bush. All right, let's do another one. Same thing. Name this player. Started out at Michigan State, to the Tennessee Titans, to the Cleveland Browns. Just a quick hint. It is a current player.
Yeah, I figured it was, but I can't even. It's got to be a free agent pickup. It's escaping me.
Michigan State.
It's probably on defense, clearly.
Oh, it's Jack Conklin.
It's Jack Conklin.
He went to Michigan State.
Yep, it's Jack
Michigan State legend.
Yep.
Oh, Jack.
All
I
right.
guess I didn't realize where Jack Conklin went to college. Okay.
Yes. Yes. All right. What else do I have here?
You can do one. Let's do two more. We got time. Let's do two more.
All right, two more. All right. Name this formation. I'm going to give you the personnel grouping. You
Okay.
tell me the formation, okay? What is it called when you have one running back, 3 tight ends,
13.
and 1 receiver?
Is that your number?
I think he got it, didn't he? What did he say?
I didn't finish the question.
Sorry, I just jumped the gun a little bit there.
My God, David, get a grip.
I feel like it's we're playing Family Feud, and he just slammed the button.
Oh my God, we need to get buttons.
Yeah,
because
you're right. Buzzers
this
would
is
help.
crazy. All right, and last but not least, this is a Shador Sanders trivia question.
Oh boy.
What type of watch does Shador Sanders hold up during his
Is it an
celebration?
app? I want to say Apple Watch, but it's
An Apple Watch?
Oh,
no. It's not a Rolex. It's not a Rolex, is it? It's not a
It's not
Rolex.
a Rolex. No, it's not a Rolex. I'm sure. I think he does. He probably has Rolexes,
Yeah.
but this one's not. The one in his iconic celebrations, right? At Colorado. Obviously, he's not doing that with the Cleveland Browns currently.
Yeah.
But
I gotta tell you, I have no freaking idea what his watch is. I mean,
All right. Unfortunately, we are watch nerds.
oh wait, somebody said a Cartier. George
It is not a
Mallory.
Cartier. It is not a Cartier. David, do you know it?
you were close with Apple when you got the A and the P. It's an AP.
It's an AP. It's an Audemars Piguet.
Audemars Piguet.
Yes. So it's an iced out AP.
Is that what Allie's wearing?
No, this is not an AP. No. I'm wearing an Omega. So there you go. There you have it. David,
Hey, I got a trivia that will blow your mind.
Okay.
What current head coach in the National Football League, and you guys may have seen this, what current head coach in the National Football League has 4 more rushing yards than Bo Jackson ever?
I know.
I'm hitting it.
Allie.
It's John Harbaugh. Or Jim Harbaugh. It's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. Which is crazy
Unfortunately.
stat, by the way. That's insane to me. That is
That is a very wild step.
that's not
It's like unfathomable.
yeah. I cannot understand.
Because I mean, if he wouldn't have got hurt, I mean,
Well.
Bo Jackson would have been,
Yeah.
crazy good. So
It's insane that Jim Harbaugh
Yeah.
has more worse. Crazy. But any closing thoughts as we wrap up here, gentlemen?
no, everybody enjoy your weekend. Obviously, we'll probably get into some free agency buzz talk. The combine's coming up, guys. Get ready for that. I think I'm going to actually go to the combine. So if any of you guys are going to the combine, I've never been. Thought it'd be kind of fun to go down to Indianapolis. Never been to that city. They make it a very fan-centric kind of thing. So looking forward to that. But yeah, combine, we got a lot coming up. Free agency, and hopefully by next show, we'll have a defensive coordinator.
There you go. There you have it. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was just going to say, hopefully this time next week we have conversations about that and the coaching staff is complete.
Yep. That would be
Oh, that'd be good.
very nice. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.